effort. Basically, whenever the player attempts to do something, they can choose to commit. They have 3 stat pools: might, speed, and intellect, and they can commit some amount of those resources to any given task. So, like the way it's sort of different from like how in D&D you would just have, it's a difficulty 15 skill check, and you roll and you add some modifiers, and if it's above that number,
you win.
That's it. So in Numenera, you would have similar, like this thing is X difficulty, and then the player can choose to deplete their resources to sort of push their character over and make it more likely for them to succeed.
Okay.
And there's also a dice roll involved, so there's some randomness, but the sort of the player has a good amount of control over, this thing is important to me, so sorry, I shouldn't tap the table. This thing is important to me, so I want to commit as much as I can to succeed, or I can take my chances. I'm going to hedge and not use as much of my resource. So as you do that through conversations where you're trying to persuade people, or interacting with things in the world, or in combat when you're making attacks, all of those things can use effort. That depletes your resources, and sleep is the sort of the best way to get all of those resources back. So as you play, you're going to need to sleep at some point.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's go to the next one, maybe. Oh, robots.
Surgical drones. So actually, on the last slide, we can leave it as it is. On the last slide, there's this area over here that is, whoops, wrong mouse again. That is this ancient surgical complex that some explorers have excavated. And in this surgical complex are some surgical drones that you can come here and get some body modifications and implants and that sort of thing, and you can go to the next one. These nasty-looking drones, particularly this guy, I think is what we're going to build, are the ones that do the surgery. It is an unfortunate fact that they do not have anesthesia. So if you decide to have body modifications done, you will take some damage and you will go through some serious pain. But they will do it for you.
So there's a trade-off.
There's a trade-off, yeah.
What's a little pain to have an improved body?
Indeed.
This is a single person, single character. You don't have. It's not a party-based game.
You do have a party, yeah. You can only choose to have this done to your own character,
okay.
But you start off. You are the last cast-off, is what you're called, one of the cast-offs. But there are characters that you can pick up over the course of the game.
Okay.
I think we have about six, seven.
There's 8
or 8 altogether
over the course of the game.
Right. But you can only have a smaller number in your party at any time.
Okay.
Surgical drones. That's all there is there. So this is Underbelly. It's another, this is that low-class slummy area. And in the interest of time, I will just point out, this over here is where the Styka live. They're those creatures that dig, or this is where some of them live. The creatures that dig under the city. If you befriend these guys, they can take you off into interesting places underneath the city. Mm-hmm. And over here, this is the ocean down here. Over here, there is also this manufactory, which, as you can see, this is the bottom of some ancient starships that are they're so old that they are kind of like buried inside the mound, and many other levels of the city have come up around them. But they still operate because future technology, why not? And the present-day people use the engines to heat up metal, and they power these forges and power some energy and this sort of thing that lights up the area and creates stuff for the city above. And there's lots of other things that happen here, but I'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
So this is the caravanserai, which I was talking about before. This is our Silk Road caravanserai / airport that the player can use to go various places. Lots of weird people and weird things from all sorts of different places come and go here. Again, there's probably a lot of spoilers here, but I will point out that you can see the bloom in the background here.
Oh yes, that creature city.
The city creature, and when you return from the bloom, you'll be coming up through here and coming up through that door. Lots of weird stuff here, but and there's my favorite, the gyrocopter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you get to fly it?
I don't think you get to fly it, but we're thinking of a use for it.
All right.
And then there's a weird transport pod for some strange creatures that come here too. But lots of fun stuff in the caravanserai.
Good.
Hey, there's my favorite. So these are the airships. So actually, one thing I should point out is in the previous shot, There were 3 airships that looked pretty much the same. That was just because we were sort of prototyping the basic airship. The airships are actually meant to be sort of colorful and different, so we had some various types that we're doing. I actually just went by one of our artists the other day, Paul Fish, and he was working on a really awesome alternative airship. So you'll see some crazy looking airships coming in and out, and this is some concepts.
Excellent. If you guys are not watching the chat, you should probably do it right now, because I suspect the Wasteland 2 giveaways are happening based on the fact that people are saying keywords over here. So if you guys are interested in getting that free copy of Wasteland 2, keep an eye on the chat. Do we have another screenshot?
We do indeed. And this is our last one is Government Square. Some of the interesting things to point out here is this is the top of the starships that we saw. We saw the bottom of the starships down in Underbelly. This is the top of the starships here, and you can see there's a ladder that you can actually climb all the way down from the Underbelly up to Government Square here. The people in the present day have repurposed the top level of these starships as the Order of Truth, which is another faction that is actually from the Numenera core game, and also their council, city council building, main government building. And then there's some other strange things. I was talking about remnants from previous worlds. One of them is this thing here called the Red Thicket. And when you enter this area here, the only thing you can hear is the person that you're talking to directly. So like if you walk up to someone and you're talking directly to them, you can hear what they're saying and they can hear what you're saying, but you can't hear anyone else and no one else can hear you. And in fact, if you try to lip read what someone else is saying, you will read the wrong words. Like you'll read off what they're not actually something they're not actually saying.
So it's an area of perfect privacy.
Perfect privacy and a great place for conspiracies and government deals and that sort of thing that they've used for that. And then also there's a weird fountain here. No water in this fountain. It's all these little purplish creatures that are coming up out of the fountain, and all of them are chattering in in dead languages. Each of them speaks a different dead language. And whenever a language dies in the ninth world, another one of these creatures is born. So it's just this constant chattering, babbling mess of these little creatures, and you can actually take one, and it has some uses.
Cool.
So yeah, lots of weird stuff here too.
The whole city looks like it's going to be a game of like you're going to find something weird and you interact with it. And you're like, that's bizarre. I wonder if it's really important or if it's just sort of an Easter egg kind of bizarre. Look how weird things are.
That is the goal.
I'm assuming some of it will only become the purpose of it will only become obvious in hindsight.
That may be the case.
Or a lot of things I think are planned where you'll see some effect early on, and then the full implications of it won't become obvious until later in the game.
Yep.
And there we go.
And we're back.
So we're going to make sure, if you've got something else to add in, George, do it now. What we'll do is we'll swap you and Josh over, so he's right next to the microphone.
Well, I've been chattering for a while, so why don't we let Josh talk about innovation?
Let me bring up the camera again. Actually, let me put the title up a second while we do the swap. 1 second, folks. All right, well, we have repositioned ourselves, and I didn't realize this. We actually have a build to show you guys.
Surprise!
So Josh, the lead animator, is at the controls over here. And the exciting scene debug menu.
Yes.
Now, is this going to be included in the final game? I'm guessing not.
No, probably. I don't think anybody wants this to be included. This is truly just a test scene. So,
Okay.
as you can see, so there's nothing really here. There's no lighting. There's no rendering really. This is just a test level, and very similar to something that I use on a normal basis.
Check that an object is rendering correctly, that the is applied right.
It really is just about the checking the animation as well. So this is just a demonstration of the movement. So I guess we have the follow camera. The thing I wanted to express about this that's different than other traditional role-playing games is that we're using root motion, which to my knowledge I don't know that anybody's ever really done it in this way, and for a game like this is a point and click type game. And what root motion is versus traditional movement is traditionally the animation is done in place, so a walk cycle is like this, and then the code moves the characters. And in this, I've actually animated the character moving forward in physical space, and that translation in physical space in the animation is what actually moves the characters in the world.
Right, so you'll never really end up with the problem that you might see in some games where the feet seem to just slide around the ground, because in this case, the actual animation tells the game how your character is supposed to move in space.
Exactly. Yep, so we got... It's a little funky with this camera.
You can turn that off.
This scene in the camera view?
Do you want to?
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. So that's the big thing here is the use of root motion, which is it's a challenge, but I think it's going to be worthwhile when this game comes out. I think it gives it a different feel. So something usually this type of control scheme is used with a controller-based scheme too, right? So you got like an analog control that makes like a nice natural arc. So we had to kind of like simulate that, and what I've done is like the distance of the click. So a short click will just make the character walk to the point,
as opposed to run. Yeah.
Right, and like a mid click, they'll just kind of do like a little jog to get there. And if you click far away, then they're going to do the full-on run.
Now, this was a game that was built in Unity, right?
Yep.
And having done a little bit of work in Unity myself, I'm assuming you're using like the mechanism system, so you can actually like sort of swap your character model. Once you've got your animations done, you can sort of swap character models and still have them work relatively sanely, which is a really nice thing for development.
It really is. There's everybody, all human bipedal characters in the game are using can use the same animation, and that's a huge win for me. Plus this,
I like her boots.
Yeah, this is just a kind of a nondescript outfit that we decided to use for this.
Yeah, this is. I believe this is not the final outfit for the player.
No, it's not.
Apparently, the stream is seeing poor FPS. We're not seeing that here. We're having some technical issues with the whole streaming setup. So if you're getting poor frame rates, unfortunately it's based on our streaming setup.
Yeah, I was afraid of that this may not fully translate.
Well, we had to use streaming. A webcam to transmit the Wasteland 2 stuff, and it's just because of our recording setup, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The game itself is fine here.
So that's really the basics of what we've got going on in here with the exploration stuff. That it's not. So that you notice the character like